What if the one thing keeping you stuck is the way you think? Welcome to Change Your Mind with Chris Ashley, the podcast where science meets spirituality and mindset becomes your most powerful tool for transformation. I'm Chris Ashley, author of Change Your Mind to Change Your Reality, trainer, speaker, and lifelong seeker. For years, I battled trauma, depression, anger, chronic illness, low self-worth, and the weight of old stories. Until I discovered how to rewire my mind, reconnect with my divine nature, and consciously create a new reality from the inside out. This show is here to help you do the same. Each week, we explore the intersection of personal development, spirituality, and science, diving into topics like healing, emotional mastery, entrepreneurship, resilience, and the quantum nature of reality. You'll hear powerful stories, gain practical tools, and real conversations that will help you change your perspective, get unshakable confidence, and live the vision your soul has always known is possible. Whether you're navigating a major life shift, building your dream business, or seeking deep healing and alignment, you're in the right place. So if you're ready to break through, take back your power, and create a life on your terms, this is your moment. Let's break free from the patterns that hold us back, awaken to who we truly are, and rise. Your transformation starts now. Welcome back to the Change Your Mind podcast, where we explore personal development, spirituality, and science. I'm your host, Chris Ashley. I'm really excited for my guest today. She's unlike any guest I've had on the show, and I think resilience is going to be the name of the game today, but we'll see where the conversation goes, as always. First, couple quick announcements. Head over to the links in the show notes. You're going to find a lot there. You'll find ways to connect with my lovely guest. You'll find ways to find me on social media. You'll find my website, find ways to sponsor the podcast, link to my book, Change Your Mind to Change Your Reality. It was endorsed by 3 people from the film The Secret: Marcy Shimoff, Michael Beckwith, Bob Doyle. It's endorsed by John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and a lot of other amazing people. And I've got 2 TV shows in addition to this. So if you're more into the metaphysical kind of woo-woo side of personal development, definitely check those out. The links are in the show notes as well. And as always, this podcast is part of the Los Angeles Tribune Podcast Network. We are doing phenomenal things in personal development. We have amazing events, both in person and virtual, pretty much once a month at this point, with incredible headliners. So come join us, be a part of the community. All right. So with me today, I have Dianette Wells. And Dianette is an elite mountaineer, adventure racer, and author who embodies the power of passion-driven resilience. One of fewer than 500 people to conquer the 7 summits, including Everest, Kilimanjaro, and Denali. She's also raced 150 plus miles across deserts, biked across America, and competed in multiple ego challenges and ultra marathons worldwide, many televised. She's also a mother of 3, and she is an author who wrote a memoir called Another Step Up the Mountain. So welcome, Dianette. I'm so happy you're here with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's a pretty badass list of accomplishments. I always start my episodes off the same way, and that's by telling guests what your origin story is. So what is it that even made you want to do all of these things that most people would never dare to do?
It was one small thing that I did with 10 of my friends, and that was climbing Mount Whitney in California. And that one thing changed the entire direction of my life. And I think that when we're doing something that we're supposed to be doing with our lives, that things just flow and happen. And that one thing was what started it.
And how old were you when you did that?
I think I was 28.
Okay.
Oh, wait, sorry. No. You know what? I wasn't. My youngest was 3. Sorry. So I think I was 32, but I did it in 98. That's what it was. I knew there was an 8 in there. So I did it in 98, and I was 32 or 33, whenever it was.
And you were already a mother, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So before that, you hadn't wanted to do any extreme sports or adventuring or anything? Like this totally awakened it?
I grew up in a flat town, La Mirada in California. I could see the mountains of Big Bear covered in snow from my kitchen window. But my mom worked full time. She was a single mom for a lot of it. And as soon as I left high school, I went to college and was working 3 jobs, 7 days a week. So yeah, being an adventurer I didn't have time to even think about something like that. But driving to Mammoth to ski with a boyfriend in high school is the first time I saw Mount Whitney. And I knew someday I would climb it.
Wow. Very, very cool. Were you scared that first time, or was it exhilarating, or what was it?
Both. I didn't know enough. I didn't know what I didn't know. None of us really did. It was just a group of housewives mostly who,
Love it.
and this is kind of before the internet, so it wasn't like I could look up on blogs and see what people were doing. I look back and I can't believe we got as far as we did, but 6 out of the 11 of us summited, and it was one of the most fun things I'd ever done. So I was hooked right before I hit the summit and I could see the summit. Like that was it. I was hooked.
Amazing. Have you ever had any like close encounters where you were like pretty afraid?
Oh yeah, many times. I mean, I've had out of body experiences. I almost drowned in a race. I've seen the white light. I've had some definite experiences. A lot of those are listed in the book. But yeah, you don't do extreme sports and, somehow get away perfectly unscathed for 26 years.
I mean, I'd love for you to like tell us some of those stories,
Um,
especially the white lights or almost drowning.
Almost drowning, that was in Borneo. When they had first tested the race course for Eco Challenge, they had done it kind of in the dry season, so the rivers weren't raging. So now we're there however many months later in the rainy season, and we are swimming in absolute whitewater rapids. One of my teammates and I went over a rapid, and you aim for the V, and we aimed for it, went over, and went straight down into a hole. And I immediately popped out of my body. I could see exactly how we were positioned. We were being forced back up against a rock underwater. It was me, my teammate, and then he had tied our backpacks on a rope so we could swim without being encumbered with the backpack on. And he would just pull the backpacks. And that rope was holding me against the rocks, and the churning water. And somehow we were both regurgitated up at the same time, grabbed onto a boulder that was out of the water, and kind of forced ourselves out of that churning water. And we just looked at each other and started laughing that, can you believe we survived that? And that was one of many instances where I thought, okay, this is it.
Wow, I mean, in a way, like having that out of body experience might have saved you because you knew how to position yourself, right? Or how to grab things or
I think it made it so I didn't panic.
Mhm.
And as I was out of the body, I literally said to myself, after all this is how and before I could say die to myself, we were regurgitated back up. So I was in my body when I knew to grab the rock.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I think if I had stayed in my body when I was under the water, I might have panicked and not made it. Who knows? I don't want to know, but it happened as it did. And yeah.
How did that experience or any other kind of like near death experience change the way you view life?
It kind of mellows you out a little bit. You realize big things aren't as big as they seem, and that, okay, on to the next adventure. I had a race, another eco challenge in Fiji in 2019. I was deathly ill after that race, went into a hospital, and my fever was so high that I saw that white light. And I was kind of excited, like, oh, that's the white light they talk about. But as I was looking into it to kind of like scope it out further, it very calmly closed with this overwhelming message of not yet.
Hmm.
And so I was left with this feeling of, okay, I'm going to have fun while I'm still here. It's not the time yet. Okay. I was, I was grateful to still be here. I was fine to have gone, but I was very grateful. Like, okay, let's see what more I have to do.
Yeah. Does it take away your fear of death at all?
Um, Probably. I mean, two kind of, well, the first, in Borneo could have been a violent death, and it wasn't. I was out of my body before. And I've read so many books on the afterlife and all of that. And they say when you are about to have a traumatic death, that you're pulled out of your body before you feel anything.
Yeah.
So I can say in my case that happened. Um, but yeah, I'm not afraid of death at all.
Yeah. And I skipped the part of your bio that you've actually gone through like a pretty devastating loss yourself. Do you mind sharing that story?
Um, well, there's a movie about my son on Peacock called American Daredevil. It's also on Tubi called Born to Fly, Johnny Strange. And it has his whole story. He was a wingsuit pilot. He had climbed the 7 summits by the time he was 17. He was an amazing extreme athlete. He had gone big wave surfing at Nazaré. I mean, just a very gifted athlete. And he passed away wingsuiting in Switzerland.
Yeah, that's so devastating. I'm so sorry for your loss. As like a mother, that's so hard.
Yeah.
Um, so did your own experiences of out of body and seeing that light like help you in any kind of way when he passed, or did those happen after?
Um, One happened after, and the one before, and one happened before. No, because those losing a child, like, it doesn't matter. Any. Sorry. Now, of course, I'm choking on something. Hold on.
Yeah, no worries.
No, I think that whatever your life experiences are, when you lose a child, everything goes out the window. So
Yeah. It's
no,
like
that
it
didn't.
doesn't matter what happens after, he's still not here kind of thing.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So, I know like everything you're about is about resilience, going through that immense grief that I can't even imagine and, you know, bodily resilience and like this grit that you have to manage. I don't know. Like, I'd just love for you to like speak on that, because so many people don't have that, or maybe they don't believe that they have that, and they haven't like really dug down into that well. Like how has that shown up in your life, and does it get easier? Like, what do you tell yourself in the hard moments?
I tell myself never give up. I think we all have an amazing amount of grit and resilience. Just people are tested on it at different times in different ways, and it can't be compared to anybody else's. Um, you know, I've said a million times, "Oh, I could never survive this or that," and then you find yourself, well, you do survive it, and you just can't give up on yourself and throw spaghetti at the wall. Just if you need to take a day where it's just a Netflix day, whatever it takes to keep going, even if sometimes it's minute by minute, that's what you do. But we are all capable of things far greater than we think on our normal daily basis. I mean, I'm lucky that I've been able to test myself, with these physical pursuits, but most of it's mental. Because after 24 hours, your body doesn't want to be doing anything physical. It wants to be in a nice bed with the full belly and having a nice night. But when you're racing or climbing, sometimes you're out there at all hours, and it's your mind telling you, "We've got this. Let's go. Keep going." Um, and I used to speak very negatively to myself when I first started, like, come on, get your fat ass up there. But it wasn't nice speaking to myself. And thankfully, over the years, I don't speak to myself that way anymore. It's like, come on, we can do this. And it's become a very positive voice to myself. And yeah, you just keep on going. You try to find something funny. And because laughter is a great thing for any situation. And yeah, you just trust yourself and trust the universe, and you'll get through more than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm sure you learn a lot about yourself along the way, right?
Oh yeah. I've learned that when the guys on my team will start talking about technical things, I tune out, and um, yeah, so that stuff really bores me. But then you realize, and every time you push yourself a little bit further, the next time you do something, you already know, oh, I can do that. I've done worse. And so all all of the tests and challenges that we have in life just make us stronger for the next challenge.
Yeah, I love that. So for people listening that are like, okay, that's amazing. You have this incredible mental capacity to kind of like root yourself on. Like, are there any tips that you have for building that mental resilience? Because I think you're right, a lot of it is mental.
Yeah, and we all have that negative voice in our heads. I mean,
Yeah.
mine is constantly everything I did wrong, everything, all the negative chatter, and I'm really trying hard. Obviously, I've gotten rid of that negative voice when I'm doing a physical pursuit, but okay, now my daily life, I'm really trying to make that voice be quiet, or just ignore it, make it stop, fill it with a positive sentence instead of, oh, you really messed this up. Well, okay, what am I going to take away from that? And now move on, onward and upward. We won't make that mistake again. Um, and just try to be positive with yourself. I mean, we're all so, especially with social media, we're so hard on ourselves, comparing ourselves to everyone and everything else. And um, you know, that's not good for anyone.
Yeah, I like that you said it's about like kind of like learning from mistakes and growing along the way. Um, because yeah, I think we're here as humans to learn and grow and keep evolving and leveling up. And yeah, people get so bogged down with the mistakes or the guilt or the shame, and I think that's really hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, and we all have guilt, shame, mistakes. I mean,
Totally.
nobody's perfect, but it's okay. What is the lesson? And if you see the same thing happening over and over again, maybe it's a sign from the universe of, hey, handle it differently. And
Mm.
then you'll notice, oh, okay. And then that kind of situation doesn't appear anymore. I've noticed that a lot. Um, yeah, we just have to remind ourselves that no one's perfect, and we are going to make mistakes. It's how do we handle the situation afterwards so that we can move forward. And I love the term leveling up. Yeah, level up your life, level up your thinking. That's a great way to put it.
Have there, so you said that there's, and I totally agree, like everyone has these, their own things. And I like that you said like if it keeps showing up, it means like you still are dealing with that, right? Like there's another way to process it or to move through it or to respond. What's been one of those situations for you that like keeps showing up and you're like, oh, okay.
Probably dealing with customer service numbers. You're on hold for 2 hours and they disconnect. I mean, um, and then not screaming at the next person who answers the phone. I would say um, probably that. Just um, there's a book called Technology of Intention by a very good friend of Michael Beckwith, um, Kim Terranova Kim Stanwood Terranova, and her things that she writes about manifesting and her intentions. So in the morning, one of the things I say as an intention is I am going to be kind to every person I have an interaction with today. Um, Throw in, menopause and everything else. And, we can be grouchy at a certain age and hormones running amok. But yeah, if that's one of my intentions every morning, then I've just made a conscious effort to be mellow. You might be on the phone and hung up on waiting for a service person or a customer service person, but that's okay because maybe they're having a hard day too. And, you just, kindness rules the day, I guess.
Yeah, that's such a great one. And it does take work, right? And I think the way that you're thinking about it too is so great with empathy, right? Like, let's put myself in this person's shoes. Like, they don't know what happened on the phone before, and like we don't know what's going on in their life. Everyone has a behind the scenes story. I think that's a really great one. I think something for me, just piggybacking on that, is like just trying to be really present with people, because it's so easy to kind of like brush through conversations really quick. But it's like everyone has something they can teach you, and everyone, even if they like, I was gonna say if they come off as rude at first, but often that's like our own projections, right? Anyway, but there's like a human being with like a heart under that, and they've probably been through a lot of things that you don't know.
Everybody has a story. If there's
Yeah,
one thing I've learned is every single person, and a lot of people have absolutely incredible stories if you just take the time to listen. And
yeah,
yeah, and we don't know, maybe their husband left them that morning or their wife cheated on. I mean, we don't know what happened in someone's day or morning. And yeah, if we could just give a little grace to people, and sometimes just smiling at someone can kind of, because yeah, we go through our day and just if we can just kind of stop and maybe, smile at someone, that changes the day for people.
and it makes you feel better, right, when you're kind to people.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would hope people mostly don't feel great when they're being jerks to people.
I would hope so too.
But then again,
It's crazy though in the age of the internet, because people are just bold behind their keyboards, right? Like the internet trolls and the fighting.
it's,
I actually posted like maybe like 6 months ago, like, hey, for anyone that does that, like goes online and like fights with people or tries to insult people, like no judgment, but like really like what do you get out of it? And this one guy gave me like a super honest response, and he was like, it's really cathartic for me. And I was like, huh. But I think it just shows like coming from your own fear or pain, right? Is I don't
the
know.
political thing, I mean, and then I think of political thing, like all of this built up anger and angst, people feel like they have to get it out somewhere, and you do. Um, and if that is, it's just when they're personal attacks, which is, you know, like body shaming someone or things like that. It's like, yeah, what is that doing for you? There are a couple of people on Instagram who are doing the funniest thing where if someone posts something, um, this woman will look at the mean comments and see who made that mean comment. And it's just shocking. And it's exactly, they're so brave behind a keyboard and then they're called out on it. And it's like, if everyone knew that it was you making that comment, would you make that comment? And
Right.
probably not.
My strategy, if I do respond, is to just be like as nice as possible. Because usually it kind of like throws people off, and they really just want to be like seen and heard at the end of the day, I think, right?
Yeah, depending. I'm finding that it depends on the platform, but yeah, people, they're feeling shut out. They're feeling like they don't have a voice, and yeah, when you can scream into the void of the internet, then yeah, all bets are off. But it's, I think if we could talk more to people face to face, that would be a lot better.
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of lost that art of face-to-face communication lately. Yeah. There's such great things about the internet, but then there's also it's I don't know, people just get so disconnected.
Well, because
There's
you're
yeah.
alone. You're with your keyboard and you're alone and, not interacting with people. So and then you get wound up in your own hatred of whatever you're mad at. And yeah, it's not healthy. I hope that this next generation of kids, they're kids, like of my kids having kids, I hope their generation is not so invested in social media and just the internet all the time. I hope the next generation, the kids are outside playing again and running around the streets and being kids instead of constantly tied to these devices.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something I have a 2-year-old and I'm pregnant right now, but it's something I think about a lot. Like I'm just trying to keep my kid outside as much as possible because I don't know, like growing up riding bikes around the neighborhood and just climbing trees, and it's what childhood should be.
That's
Yeah.
what mine was. And, I did not have a good home life, but when I was outside playing, and I would be gone all day long. We had to
Hmm.
check when the street lights came on, but
Yeah.
I had to run of La Mirada. And the minute I got a bike, that was it. I was just gone.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, so your love of outdoors started younger than 28.
It started, we would go camping. We
Oh,
had this
cool.
motorhome that I disliked immensely. 'Cause I wanted to be in a tent like the real campers. And my stepdad was just an awful human being, and we were not allowed to get wet or dirty. So my twin brother and I, yes, we're camping. We're not allowed to get wet or dirty, which is all I wanted to do. So it was funny that once I started adventure racing and doing these sports, I was constantly wet and dirty and loving every minute of it. Um, so yeah, somehow in me, in that child who just wanted to sleep in a tent like a real camper, um, yeah, somehow it started there, but then, with college and work, it kind of goes away. And then I was fortunate enough for that one climb with those women that I got that sense of adventure back.
That's really beautiful because in a way you kind of healed your inner child and are like rewriting your childhood because you get to go out and play outside and get dirty and
And then
do
you
what
get
brings you
sponsored for it.
joy.
Yeah,
What was that?
absolutely. And then you get, when you're sponsored for it, then you're getting paid to be wet and dirty. So
Amazing.
yeah, it ended up great. And I ended up doing the things I wanted to do as a kid, but would get in trouble for.
So how was that journey about getting sponsored? Like when did it go from like hobby to what you do for a living?
So with the races, which is where I was mostly sponsored, it would depend on if your team was being covered. If you're a covered team by TV, then it's much easier to get sponsors because then you're giving them something of value.
Mm.
I would love to be sponsored to climb Everest again. I'd be 60, 61, and it's not easy. I'm not even sure how to do it now, but I know that my age demographic of women, we're the ones who spend the money in the household. So yeah, whatever product you want hauled up to the summit of Everest, I would take for you. Vitamins, anything imaginable that somebody could use. Yeah, I guess that's, I don't know how it works at this point. I'm not sure, but if you know of anyone who knows, let me know. I offer a great percentage on whatever they bring in.
Well, if anyone's listening, Dianette's info will be in the show notes for sure. So is there any adventure that you've gone on or that you haven't gone on yet that's like on your bucket list, like something to do?
There are so many. I would love to have the speed record from um, the ocean in Antarctica to the South Pole, and that's pulling a sled. Um, I would love to do, a traverse of Everest, starting on one side, going to the other. I'd love to do Everest and Lhotse together in under 24 hours. Um, I'm pretty open to most things. I tend to say yes to when people say, "Hey, do you wanna?" And I'm usually an immediate yes. So, um, I would like to do the full. I've done the lower Grand Canyon of paddling it. I would like to do the full Grand Canyon. That's another thing on my bucket list. Yeah, there's just a lot.
I love that you just say yes. That's such a great way to go through life.
Well, Chandra Rhimes wrote that book, A Year of Saying Yes, and I took that to heart. So I really try to say yes to most things because you just never know what might come of that. Just saying yes to that one climb changed my entire life.
Yeah.
So saying yes is a good thing.
I really love that. So, have you ever like actually given up, and then like how did that make you feel? Like have you ever like gotten to a point where you're like, okay, this is just not safe, like I need to stop? Or have you always pushed through?
Yes. No, I think fear is a really good thing, and fear can keep you alive. And I have this inner voice in my head that, again, I talk about it in the book, that I've heard 3 times. And on 2 of the times, I can absolutely tell you that it saved my life. The first time I heard it, I don't know what would have happened if I had continued, but I was climbing the Matterhorn. And in the middle of the night before the climb, I very clearly heard the word no. And it was a very strong, powerful voice that wasn't my voice. And it was a male voice, but it was so powerful. It was kind of beyond that, which I know sounds very woo woo, hippy dippy, whatever, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And 45 minutes from the summit, I knew, oh, this is where I stop. And I said to the guide, I'm done. And he was, flabbergasted, because the Swiss guides very much are, ego driven for those summits, which I get. But I was done, and that was it. There was no talking me out of quitting, and I felt absolutely fine about it. And normally, if I were to quit something, I'd want to go back and finish it. I've never felt the desire to go back and finish that climb. So I think that told me something.
I love that you were able to set ego aside and listen to that.
I think, if you're going to do these high risk sports, you have to listen to that inner voice. I don't know why you'd want to ignore that, because it's obviously something is trying to tell you something. And why not listen to it?
Yeah.
Another time I heard it, it was during Race Across America, which is a bike race across the US. And I was flying down this hill in the middle of the night, going over 40 miles an hour, which is what you want during a bike race. And that voice again, and I hadn't heard it in a few years, but it said, slow down. And I thought, oh, not now. But I kind of knew, okay. And I slowed down, and sure enough, at the bottom of that hill were these train tracks that were askew to the road. Had I hit them at the speed that I was going at that angle, it would have been a Maytag situation. It just would have been a nightmare.
Wow.
And so that's when I knew, okay, this voice, I need to listen to it. Whenever I hear it, I need to listen.
Wow, that gives me goosebumps. You have something or someone protecting you and watching over you. That's amazing.
They're so good to me. Yeah, I'm very lucky. I know I have them on their toes, whoever my guides are.
Yeah, they're like, why did we sign up for her?
But hopefully they're having, I like to think
No,
that
I'm sure they're having fun.
they're on an
Probably
adventure.
way more fun than most humans.
Yeah, I hope they're having fun.
So I love all your stories so much. Can we talk a little bit about the loss that you went through? Are you okay talking about that?
Sure.
Like, how did that affect like you wanting to go out and do all of that? I mean, obviously you're still doing it all, but like, was there a period of time where like fear came in, or were you thinking about that a lot?
After it first happened, I couldn't physically walk around the block. And I had just moved to Park City because I was signed up to do what's called the Triple Crown, or the trilogy, which is Everest, Lhotse, and Nuptse. And I was going to try to do them in 3 days, which was kind of a big deal. I had a big deposit paid. And after Johnny died, and I can't walk around the block, and I'm just done. And then I'm going to tell my daughters, oh, hey, I'm going to go do this very high risk thing. Like that would not have gone well at all. One, I physically couldn't do it. Even though right before then I was in some of the best shape I'd ever been in, top of my game physically. But after that, but any fear, no, I have no fear, because I'm not, I'm still always very careful and, always minimizing risk, whatever I do. But yeah, that all went out the window after Johnny died. There was no way. I feel comfortable going back to Everest, but would I try to do Everest Lhotse Nuptse? Not unless I was paid a whole lot of money. But otherwise, no, I couldn't do that to my daughters.
That's kind of what I was going to ask next. Since you mentioned your daughters, like, do they do extreme sports, or are they way more anxious about you doing it now since losing their brother?
They got a phone call after the last eco challenge when I was in the hospital seeing that white light, and so yeah, they weren't happy. And they're both incredible athletes. It's not what they do. They're both very well educated and 10 times smarter than I could ever hope to be. So the sports is not what they do, but they've both climbed Kilimanjaro when they were teenagers. They could probably surpass me in most sports. They're very strong, very gifted athletes. But yeah, that's just not their thing.
And do they have anxiety every time you go out now, or is it just something they're like kind of used to now?
I'm not doing anything. Mark Burnett stopped doing eco challenges. I think Amazon, after they filmed the one in 2019, I think they didn't know exactly what they were signing up for and how, crazy it was. There were boats flipping at sea. That's, if you want to see that race, it's on Amazon Prime. It's World's Toughest Race Eco Challenge.
Okay, I have to check.
And they don't even show most of the bad stuff that was going on. But yeah, I think they realized, hey, this is a really risky thing. And it's shocking that no one died in that race. So yeah, if I told them I was doing an eco challenge, they would not be thrilled. Any other adventure race, I think they wouldn't care. They wouldn't notice. Yeah, going back to Everest, is definitely going to be a problem. But we'll just see what happens if that happens.
And why Everest? Why would Everest be a problem?
Because it's a high risk mountain.
Okay.
Is
it the most challenging in the world?
No.
No.
There's so many harder mountains. You've got great support staff. You've got amazing Sherpas on the south side. I've always climbed with Alpine Ascents, so we are very well taken care of. And, no one's carrying you up the mountain. You still have to perform, but I just feel like you're surrounded with the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's not K2. It's not, if you look at the 14,000 meter peaks, there are much harder mountains to climb, but it's still, you're at high altitude. People do die. And yeah, my girls are very aware of that.
Yeah. Okay, so you hiked with all of your kids up some crazy mountains. Like, how was that hiking with kids? Like, when did you start doing all this with them?
I took Johnny first to Kilimanjaro. Well, and they've done Kilimanjaro, so it's a pretty easy climb. I'm just going to say I've done that one 7 times because I've gone with a bunch of friends. But yeah, for a teenager and you're at altitude, it's not easy. And I took them one at a time because I thought if I take all of my kids at the same time and they're going to start fighting and then I'm going to lose it, and no. And that way, if I went with one at a time, I could really focus on what they needed and their well-being.
Yeah.
And I will say it was great. I had so much fun with them. Oh my gosh, with my oldest child, there were some cute British boys who were, with another group, and that was a whole thing. And my youngest, when she climbed it, she was 13 years old. And I look back at that, and at the time she seemed, old enough. But now I look back at pictures and I think, oh my gosh, she was so little. But she did it like a champ. My son, hiked with the porters all day, every day. He didn't even hike with us. He's like, I don't want to be with you guys. I want to be with the porters. And he was amazing on that mountain. they were all so much fun to be with. And it's something that, when a kid puts that on their college application that they climbed Kilimanjaro, it's something that really helped my kids get into colleges, because it's something that, mom didn't do that project for you, or, dad didn't do that work for you. You had to climb that mountain and you had to get up there. And it shows these kids, wow, can really do something amazing. And if you have the means to do it and any desire, I say 100% take your kid or kids and go climb Kilimanjaro, because the other parents I've seen with their kids on that mountain, they're all having the time of their lives. And to be, hanging out with your kid in a tent, which, especially when they're teenagers, how many teenagers want to be with their parents in a tent?
Right.
A trip with them that long. So it's an amazing bonding thing. And especially for girls, when they hit that summit, that is a notch in their belt that no one can ever take from them. And I think it gives them a sense of, I'm a bit of a badass. Look what I did. And I think they tend to take less nonsense from boys later on in high school. That's just my opinion, but it's a pretty empowering thing to see your kid do that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you start them off with like small hikes around like wherever you were living, or?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think how much training. I would say my son probably did the most training. My oldest did not train one single day, nor did she even put on her shoes, her climbing boots, until we arrived in Africa. But she acted like it was a day at the park. She had no problems, but youth is all I can say to that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much my youngest trained, maybe a little bit, but not much. Again, they're kids and they have that stamina, but it's a pretty nice schedule. Again, Alpine Ascents, when they go, they have one extra day on the itinerary. So you see most of the group not really getting the altitude sickness that other groups who do it a little bit faster have, because the more you can acclimatize, the better you feel.
Right.
So my kids had that advantage of, they weren't rushed up the mountain. They were eating really well, amazing food the whole way up. And so, yeah, it kind of depends on who you're going with.
You're kind of making me want to hike Mount Kilimanjaro. I do love Africa's amazing. Did you like spend time in Africa with them before or after each trip?
I was there a couple of days beforehand, so we got to see Arusha. And then afterwards, except with Johnny, because if Johnny had to sit in an enclosed car for 3 days or 4 days on safari, someone would have been thrown out of the Jeep. There's no way he could have sat still that long. But with both of my girls, we went on safari afterwards, and that was absolutely incredible. And I think I did the hot air balloon with both of them. I don't remember, but I for sure did it with my youngest. And that was just epic. When you're floating over a lion kill, and there's nothing like it.
That's wild. Literally wild.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what do you do to train? Like you're obviously very active, but do you do like weights? Do you like what do you do to keep yourself so fit?
Right now I moved to North Carolina not too long ago, and there's this thing called Hot Works, which I guess is an East Coast thing, but it's these little sauna boxes, and you can do a myriad of classes, but you can turn it up to 130 degrees. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I just climbed Mount Whitney a few weeks ago for my 17th time, and I try to do that every year just to kind of see what my level of fitness is. But otherwise, it depends on what my next event is, and I kind of gear my training towards that. As I'm getting older and some injuries are coming up, it's, to carry a heavy pack and run 155 miles, probably, unless I get my back really looked at and see what the problem is. I don't know that I'll be doing that. That's something I'm working on now, but I can still climb. I can still carry a pack. I can still climb. I can still ride my bike. So yeah, it just depends. I kind of train for what the event is. And if it's just kind of a daily life maintaining, then I'm at a gym or riding my bike. I joined a dragon boat team once I
Oh,
moved to.
cool.
It was so cool. I mean, I had no idea, and everybody's really fun and funny. But that is such an amazing core workout that, you know, and I don't even look at it as, oh, I'm training. It's just, oh, I'm having a good time. And oh, by the way, I am getting a really strong core from this. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. The hot works thing sounds really cool too.
yeah.
So you can do like any exercise in there? Like I'm a fan of hot yoga, so I'm like, oh, I would just go do yoga in there or something.
So yoga is one of them.
Okay.
It's wild. I couldn't comprehend how to, and it's open 24/7,
Oh,
but
that's
it's
cool.
individual. Well, you can fit 3 people in, but thankfully people are very polite at my particular studio that if someone's already booked in there, they don't book it. So I usually have a studio to myself that fits 3. I turn it up to 130 and a video will play, whether it's core, yoga, bands, bar, Pilates, anything you can think of, you can choose, and that's what your class will be. There's cycling, there's rowing.
Wow. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's a good workout. It's fun.
Yeah, that's super cool. I wish they had that in the West Coast. Um, so it's really cool that you do like so much. You bike, you swim, you run, you hike. Like, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Hiking.
Hiking.
I love
Up the
hiking. Oh,
mountains, right?
yeah. I love canyoneering. I love my favorite thing in the world to do is jump from boulder to boulder up a river or down a river.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. I clearly remember doing that as a kid and thinking this is the greatest thing ever. The Narrows in Zion, one of the most spectacular, beautiful places I've ever seen or been. I guess I really love whitewater rafting too. That's another one of my favorites.
That is
Horseback
fun.
riding. I love horseback riding.
Oh, I'm a horseback rider. I love that.
I guess the best thing to do is what wouldn't I do?
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would pretty much do everything. What I wouldn't do is I won't skydive.
Okay.
I would do, or big wave surf. I won't do that either. Smaller waves, sure, but big wave surfing and skydiving, no.
Why skydiving?
Because that's how my son died.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what like a wingsuit was exactly. Okay.
Kind of the same thing. One leads to the other.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of heights.
Okay.
Um, so, I like being attached to a rope that's attached to a mountain
Yeah.
because it's some level of, oh, there's a plan B if someone falls.
Right.
So, yeah, I think the only things I would say no to are, skydiving and big wave surfing.
Yeah. I'm almost thinking like I'm sure eventually there's going to be something where like people can go out in space or do something like wild like that. Like, would you do something like that?
Um,
It's more of an
Again,
adrenaline thing than a workout, but
yeah, not a fan of, heights. So the
okay.
space thing, no, I like Earth a lot.
Yeah.
Put me on a mountain or in the mountains and I'm very, very happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, space does not interest me at all.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to the astronauts.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing. Well, you're so much fun to talk to and you're very inspiring. And I just appreciate you. Is there any other message that you just wanted to get out to listeners today that just about resilience or anything that you want to share?
I think the main thing is that some day is not a day of the week. It never comes. So if there's something you want to do, no matter what it is, I don't care if it's doing a puzzle, knitting, climbing Everest, doing any climb, just do it. Sign up because there are always a million excuses not to do something. And all you need is one reason to do it. And that's because you want to. And that is all the reason you need. So sign up for it. When your kids are older, I hope you take them to Kilimanjaro. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it always sounded really intimidating, but you kind of made it sound accessible. So
It is. That's the thing, is we all get intimidated by things that because we've listened to someone else, or, not really thought that we could do it, but we actually can. And I can tell you, you could do Kilimanjaro. If my kids could do it at 13, and I've brought friends who are in their 50s and had never done anything like that. One of them was on the first Whitney trip with me.
nice.
And she did Kilimanjaro with me, and she's 15 years older than I am. And we're sitting in the dining tent, and there's a man who's maybe 10 years at least younger than her. And he's complaining about, oh, this is hard. Oh. And she just looked at him and said, he said, I'm too old for this. And she said, how old are you? And it came out he was so much younger than her. And she just laughed at him. And he never complained the rest of the trip.
I love
He
it.
submitted that thing in high fashion. But it's don't put limitations on yourself. Just sign up, and at least you tried and you attempted. You showed up at the start line. You showed up for yourself, and that's what's important.
Yeah, I love that. You're just making me think, like, it seems like so many of the limitations that are perceived, like, are just in our own head.
100%. And
Yeah.
they're dumb. It's a friend of mine would say, it's like a rock in your backpack. Dump the rocks. You hear that negative reason or excuse, dump that rock out of your backpack and just keep going forward. And again, that 5K that you've always thought about doing, so what if you walk it? Sign up anyways. Maybe the next time you do it, you'll be shuffling and jogging. I mean, we're here to improve ourselves and, level up, which I have to start stealing that. That's what we're here to do. I mean, why not? Just why not?
Yeah, I love it. Amazing. And if people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
My website is dianettewells.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Reach out. I'd love to hear from people, especially, if they have questions about climbs or, a good thing, what's a good first thing to do. I've got a great climbing company, a couple of them that I highly recommend. Reach out. I'd love to hear from people.
Amazing. And again, what's your book name? I have it in my notes somewhere, but
Another Step Up the Mountain.
Another Step Up the Mountain. So yeah, everyone check that out too. Oh, I like that it's yellow. That's good. That stands out. Where is that picture taken?
This is coming through the ice fall. I know those look like clouds, but it's actually ice.
That's cool.
And that is the ice fall of Mount Everest we had summited. We are coming down. I guess this is 2 or 3 days after the summit. And all those years of angst of summiting Everest are off of me. And
Nice.
I'm very sunburned and very happy in that photo.
Nice. Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Again, you've been such a pleasure. So much fun to talk to. I love your outlook and your attitude. And if you're listening and this resonated and there's someone who you think would love to hear it, send it to them. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things. Let's help lift humanity. Have a beautiful rest of your day, everyone.